All right, so one of the things that we don't have is we don't have a custom home page. If we click on this, it just loads our blog page. And if you were to go back to XD and you look at our example homepage, you'll see that it's got this, features thing here, and it's got some information, and then it loads the blog page, and it also styles it very differently. So what we need to do is figure out how to do something where we can get a custom page to load like that. So what we do have so far is we do have the blog that's loading, even though it's not loading maybe in the way that we want it to load. All right, so I guess what we need to work on at this point then is we need to work on the figuring out which templates go where. So let's go into Dreamweaver, and first thing is if we look at our files, I want to talk a little bit about the different pages and how this template hierarchy works. So if you were to look inside of here and you go and find, where is it? It's called page.php. Go ahead and open that, and we'll take a peek at it. And I want to show you also, I want to jump over to the developer.wordpress.org site, and I'm looking at the template hierarchy page, which I've shown you before. And I want to talk to you a little bit about its basic template hierarchy and how it's going to decide what to grab and when. So if you were to read this, it's about the home page display, and it tells you that by default WordPress sets your site's homepage to display your latest blog posts. And then I've shown you some different ways that you can go and change those to static pages and stuff like that. But if home does not exist, then it's going to go and default down to index.php. Now, if frontpage.php exists, front page will override the home.php template. And front page is something that doesn't just come natively with the installation of WordPress. It's something you have to create. So it will definitely override everything though. And so I typically don't want to use front page if I can create something that is home.php, but there's nothing wrong with using front-page.php. Anyway, so this tells you what the hierarchy is, and as I said, front page will trump everything else, and then it'll take precedence over your home template. If front-page.php does not exist, it'll either use your home or it'll use page.php files, depending on how the settings are set up. So I want to create something that's called home.php because of the way that I have my settings. So like it tells you right here that if WordPress can't find front page and your latest posts are what are set currently for your front page display, then it's going to look for home. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. If we go into the back end, let's go under appearance, not appearance, let's go under settings, and let's click on reading. I'm going to open this in a new tab. And if we go to reading, then you see where it says your latest posts. Automatically, if I have that selected, it's automatically going to grab my home.php page before it's going to grab anything else. All right, and so if I go ahead and I select it and I tell it that this is what I want it to be, then I can go ahead and create something called home.php. All right. Now, if you're going to do something a little bit different, like you've got something set explicitly, then you could make something called front-page.php, and that's fine. It's really up to you if you don't have like your latest blog post set. In my example, I'm going to show you how you can have latest blog post set so that you can also have other stuff in addition, because I think that's kind of nice whenever you can have new articles and things like that show up, or sticky articles. That's the other thing you can do, is tell the sticky stuff to show up. Okay, so all right, having that explanation, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and base our home.php off of page.php. Might as well, right? We could also use index if we wanted to base it off of, but I'm going to base it off of page.php. So if I go over to Dreamweaver, all right, I opened page.php. What I can do now is I can simply just go File, Save As. Let's do that. I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this home.php. And you'll notice that I don't already have something in there that's called home. You can look in there and see, and there's nothing there. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and save that as home. And I'm going to now make sure that where it says this is the template that displays all pages by default, I'm going to change that so that it says this is the template that displays the home page by default. And then I'll say, let's do this, when, and we can put our little star here to keep it consistent, when latest blog posts is selected in, we'll say settings, reading. Okay, so that becomes very clear. All right, and then you can also keep it here where it says you can remove this, but that tells you that this is a good one to use as like a template base. All right, so I'll go ahead and I'll leave that here. If you want, you can take that out. Actually, we probably should take that out because it's not going to be true anymore pretty soon. Okay, so first thing is that you have to get the header, so let it go ahead and do that. There's nothing that's going to change about that. But if you want to make sure that this is actually working before anything else happens, is you could just come and start typing somewhere. Like for instance, you could type right inside of the primary section, just for the heck of it. We're going to type in, let's do a paragraph. Actually, let's do an H1. Let's make it a big fat H1 so it'll be really obvious. And we're going to type in a whole bunch of X's, just a string of X's. All right. And that will help us know that for sure that this is being loaded properly as the template. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to upload that. Let's just put that up there. Okay. And whenever I come over here, let's come over and check our home. I'm going to click on this. It definitely take me to my home page, and you can see right here it is definitely now loading that home.php. So score. All right, so we're at least getting that part to work right. All right, and we know that that's working the way we expect it to. So I can get rid of this now that I know that that's working. Okay. All right, now something else that we need to do is if you actually, let's jump back here, and if you see what's happening here, we're still getting the sidebar, and I don't want the sidebar, right? And so if you remember back to our XD mockup, this is a full width page right here. So I don't want that sidebar. So I need to get rid of that. Let's go back over to Dreamweaver. And the way that I need to get rid of that is I need to stop loading the content sidebar CSS file. So let's go over here and find our functions file. And we're going to make a change there and write a conditional statement. Open functions. And what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down until you find the place where you start unqueuing your style sheets. And specifically, you're looking for the place where you are unqueuing your content sidebar. And we'll find that here in just a moment. And here we go. So for me, it's around line 142. And I've got a comment that says next line, and I'll put loads, I should say loads, the content sidebar.css file for a 2-column layout. So what I want to do here is I want to create an if statement. I want to say if something is true, then do something, right? Else, right, do something different. And the something different that we're going to do is actually going to be to load the sidebar. All right, and so I'll go ahead and I'll tab this in, and we'll do something like this. So right now this is in PHP, and right now we're getting an error message because I don't have an if condition in here. So the condition that we're looking for is something that's called is_home, and that's a function. If you are using if you're using WordPress, there are certain functions that you can use to test to see what page you're on. Is home will look to see if you're on a home page. You could say, you can also check to see if something is a page or if it is a post. Like, there's some different functions that are like that. Again, the codex is really, really helpful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this whole line right here, and I'm going to paste it, but I'm going to make some changes. We're going to call something here content-home.css instead of sidebar, and we'll say we'll put for single column home layout, home page layout. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to content-home. All right, and we're going to change this, instead of Topcat layout CSS, we're going to take it and change it to home.css, or Topcat-home-css. Okay, so let's save that really quickly, and you're going to see something kind of get messed up because we actually don't have this file yet. We haven't created it. So let's go ahead and save this. We're going to upload it so that our functions will be up to date and new. I'm going to also take this home.php page, and I'll put, let's go ahead and save, say yes, save it. Okay, and if I come back over here and I do a refresh on here, you're going to see that everything looks all messed up, right? Because it doesn't know what to do right now, because a lot of my styles, if you remember, a lot of my background styles and things like that were actually in that content sidebar page. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at content sidebar, and we're going to take what we need out of it, and we're going to use that in our home page, and then the rest of it we're going to get rid of. So we're going to go over here and look at files again, and we're going to try to find that CSS. Let's see, it's going to be under layouts. Here's content sidebar, so I'm going to open that style sheet. And the thing is, so much of this is actually going to be exactly the same, except for maybe some of the stuff down here for desktop styles, where we're going to add some more stuff and maybe comment some things out. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do a file, save as, and we will call this content-home. And I'm going to keep it in the layouts folder. We'll save that, and then here I'm going to save this where it is no longer content sidebar. We'll say content home. Okay, and we'll save that. And the other thing that now we can do is we can look at the way that we've got the content area set to float. That's something that we're probably going to need to change. And you know, the width for the widget area is probably something we don't want to have happen. I don't know about this padding and stuff. So for just a moment, let's go ahead and let's comment out some of this stuff, right? Let's just go ahead and put a comment mark on the end of this right there. And we're going to save that content home. And let's just upload it, and that way we can start messing around with it in the inspector, Chrome inspector. Let's go ahead and put it up there. And it should have already loaded, so let's hit refresh and come over here, and you can see there we go, and we've got our styles back, and it's just not loading that silly bar off to the side, which is good. All right, so because I really don't want that bar. The footer is still good. We still have our footer, but it's doing something kind of weird. So what that makes me remember is that I need to go back and take a look at the file. And if I scroll down on, this is on home.php, scroll down and you see it's actually saying get sidebar. So I'm just going to comment that out for a moment, and I'm going to save that. We'll upload that, put that up on the server, make sure that it uploads okay. So I've been having some sort of issues sometimes with uploading. I can also try to do it here, click on the put button, and it flashed, so it should be good. Now if I come over here and refresh, Let's see if we have the same problem. And then if you're concerned, you can do a hard reset, and that should clear it. But you see it's still showing up. And so what that leads me to believe is that I made a mistake actually earlier when I was messing around with my widgets, and I think I might have accidentally put the widget, the monster widget, in my footer when I was trying to remove it, and it looks like I did. See, here's the monster widget. I don't want that there. So I'm going to delete that. I accidentally drug it out thinking I was just getting rid of it, and I dropped it by accident in the footer. So let's now go back here and let's do another refresh. We got rid of the sidebar and we got rid of the monster widget, so we're in good shape. Okay, so this is the way that I am expecting my homepage to look thus far. Unfortunately, it is still grabbing all of the full posts, and I just want it to grab excerpts and so forth, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Right now, we'll just take one step at a time. All right, so let's jump back over here to Dreamweaver, and there's something else that I want to be able to do before I create another section that's going to go up here that loads before the primary section. I want to go ahead and find a way to include some other information in this main area before my posts. So for right now, I'm going to just go ahead and paste some stuff, and I'm going to paste it right after this main ID and right before the loop that is while we have posts. Okay, so I'm going to paste all of this, and basically what this is just an H1 that's explaining what this page is, and it's got like a paragraph that tells you, right, that this is it's based off of page.php, and then I've got a block quote here that's got some other information, and then I've got another paragraph that tells me what the ancestor page was, and so on. And the reason I'm doing that is, I mean, you would have real content, but I'm doing it so that I have information that's actually helpful to people when they look at the page. But anyway, so I'm going to save this. We'll put it up there, and it's so that I can see that changes are actually being made properly. And let's take a look and do a refresh, and you see here it loads the content that I was expecting it to load. All right, and I could always adjust my styling for the block quote if I thought that this was problematic, especially if I needed it to happen specifically on the home page. I'm not messing with it right now, but that information is in fact showing up, so that's good. So then, we've got these things down here, the way that the blog is showing up, but then there's something else that I want to have happen. I want to have this feature thing, like this feature area. And one of the things that I can do to get that to show up is I can actually make a widgetized area, which is kind of nice. So I could have, 3 different widget sections and style them as floats. All right, so to do that, and because you can put all sorts of different things inside of widgets. And that way it's not all a bunch of static stuff the way that this is all static, right? You don't have to have this static stuff here if you don't want. But right here, I think what I want to do is include my widget. Actually, I don't want it to be inside the primary area. I actually want it to be its own area, right? Because we have primary, we have secondary, and so on. I actually want the widget to go here. So if I scroll down, I'm going to grab this get sidebar. I'm actually going to just cut it so I can get that out of there. And I'll use that right here. And I'm going to say, not just regular old get sidebar, I'm going to pass a parameter here, and I'm going to put home inside of it so that I know that I'm grabbing the sidebar that is called sidebar-home, okay? Which means that I have to now make that. So I'm going to go ahead and save this page. I'll upload it in a minute, but I need to go over here where it says, let's actually find it, and we'll go down here where I've got, sidebar footer, and we've got these other sidebars. Actually, I'll go ahead and open sidebar footer. And I'm going to do this, and we'll go ahead and do File, Save As, and we'll save this as sidebar-home, just like that. And I'm going to change this, we'll say the home widget area, and here we're going to say home-sidebar, and then here we'll change that to home-sidebar as well. All right, so that means that we actually need to call make the handle for our sidebar called home-sidebar when we go to register it as a sidebar in the functions page. So let's go and grab the functions page and let's register a sidebar. All right, and so if you scroll in mine, it's around line 79 where we start registering sidebars. I'm going to actually go down to line 89, and this is the one that I made for the footer. So I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to click right up here, and I'm going to register a new sidebar, but instead this is going to be called home, and we'll call this home-sidebar. And well, that's going to be the ID, right? And you want to make sure that whenever you're doing this, oh, it's not here that you need to change the ID. You got to make sure that we changed it in the other page. So we've got home-sidebar, and this is called home. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's jump back over here and make sure where it says sidebar-home that we have it being called home-sidebar, and right here where it says ID footer widgets, we need to call this home widgets, and yep, that's it. Okay, so that we know how to style this properly and we're not having two IDs called footer widgets by accident. So let's save that. So we need to upload a bunch of these files. So I'm going to upload my sidebar-home.php file. I think I've already uploaded that. Let's see, go functions. I need to upload my functions file. I also need to upload my home.php file because I made changes to it as well. And so all of those things have happened. Now, if I come back over here and I hit refresh, nothing is going to happen because I don't actually have that widget turned on or enabled or anything like that. But now we can actually go into the back end in our widgets. I'll just click this to reload the page again. And you see now I've got a home widget as well. All right. And so my home widget is empty. I can put some stuff inside of that. And what's really nice is that there's custom HTML now. So if I drop that over here, it used to just be that it was a text box down here, but now you can actually do custom HTML. And so I'm going to put something like this is a title. All right, I'll go back and change this, and I'll say this is some text. Okay. All right, so I can just do that, and if I want, I can also be sure to wrap, like a paragraph tag around that or something. Remember, it's custom HTML. Let's just save that, and then now that this is active and it has something in it, if I come over here and I hit refresh, it should show up, and you see that it does show up. Now, I haven't styled it so that it has a margin or does anything different, but it is showing up. The other thing I can do is I can add some more custom HTML if I want, and I'm going to add them as separate entities inside of here. So I will say that this is, well, I'll just say box 1. How about that? Say box 1. Okay, and I'm going to just paste some custom HTML in here. So we can, in this div, I'm just going to style this for right now. We'll put something in it later, but for now I can also just style it so that it looks like a big black dot or something like that. All right, and then I'll put it in classes, in a class called boxes. So yeah, and then I can also put this as paragraph text as well. All right, and so let's just copy this. I'll save that, and let's just keep adding some more custom HTML. Right, and you could also, put an image or whatever in there. Lots of different things that you can do here, right? So let's say box 2, and we're going to paste this, and we'll say this is box 2, right? Save that, and we'll add some more custom HTML, and we'll say box 3, okay? and we're spelling this out up here. And we'll say this is box 3. Save that. And let's go up here and hit refresh. And you see that I've got my boxes right here. Pretty cool. All right, stuff is showing up just the way that I wanted it to. I just have to style it. And then the other thing too that I need to deal with is I decided that I don't want these to be full posts. So remember how we dealt with that before. If I go back over to Dreamweaver and I look and see the way that it's calling the posts, you see here it's saying get template part, content, and then page. Well, if I go and I look at what the content dash page is, so if we come up here and we look at content dash page, you can see what it's going to be loading, and you can see that it's loading the actual information that's specific for the entire post. Well, that's not what I want, right? So we decided before that we would be okay with something like, if you look back and see what content dash search is, for instance, right? We're probably okay with something like that, where we're grabbing the excerpt, right? And we have this entry meta and all of that kind of stuff, right? So I can actually just go ahead and take this and I can do a save as. Let's do this, go file, save as. And we're going to save this as content dash home. All right, and then we'll do a save, and then where it says this template for displaying results in the home page. Okay, and we'll save that. And so now we've got this basic thing set up, and we can come and change this up if we want to make it custom later. I'm going to close the content search, and now what I need to do whenever I go over here to my home page is I need to change it so that it's not loading the template part for content page, but content home instead. So let's save that, and then if by doing that, it should load up those shorter excerpty type pages. So if I put that up here, let's put that up, and then I also have to put up my new file that's content-home.php. So let me put that up also on the server. And I come over here and I hit my refresh, and you see now what it's doing is it's starting to pick up some of the styling. It doesn't have all of the styling because we didn't include the home page as one of those things that needed to get styled and the way that we wanted it to on the search page and archive page. But this is looking already a lot better, right? So this is kind of cool how much you can customize this. So I'm going to stop right here for this particular video, and in the next one I'm going to show you how you can start doing a lot of custom styling for like this widget area and for these down here and maybe some other stuff that's in the page.